Sure.
Honestly, we need to have a conversation, and I hate to come into the show like this because we're gonna talk about this story in just a second.
Got to.
But we got to have like a very serious conversation about a certain demographic of people not understanding that like time moves forward and like they're relevant. Nobody stays relevant for forever. You know,
Agreed.
like when Howard Stern was like, "Oh my God, these guys don't acknowledge me on the sideline of the bat." First of all, they don't acknowledge you,
They don't know you.
brother. Who are you, the tribal chief? Like, you need to be acknowledged for being there. Like, what's good with you? Like, let's start there. But moving beyond that, like you said, Josh, they don't know you, brother. Like, I don't know if you know this or not, Mr. Stern, but your show was not popular enough. We all know who Howard Stern is, sure, because when we were growing up, it was like, oh yeah, Howard Stern is a big deal. Like he has the
Right.
radio show where there's always something crazy being said. Now, I'm sorry to tell you this. You've been replaced by Adam 22. No, I'm just joking. But seriously,
Adam 22
like,
been replaced himself.
oh my God. The video old boy said, I personally couldn't do that, but everybody had different levels of mental maturity. I said, bro, you gotta steal him. You gotta steal him out of
You got
but
to.
no, but no. The same thing with the Britney Spears situation, right? Like everybody's like, there was an uproar on Twitter about people saying that Victor Wembanyama potentially didn't know Britney, and it's like, that's a young man that was born in what 2005 in France.
Yep. See, and here's my thing. Even if he does know who Britney Spears is, or you know what I'm saying, he could recognize her face from what came out in '05, probably like Toxic or something, right?
Right.
2005 Britney do not look like right now Britney.
But even if he like 2005 was the year he was born. Like that's like
Right, yeah. And he went watching Britney Spears videos in the womb.
even if he was, would he remember it? Would he remember it?
Right.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Like that.
So give. I think we should tell the audience what
Oh yeah,
happened.
yeah.
What transpired.
Of course. And so the situation was at the Vegas Summer League, Britney Spears attempted to go up and pat Victor Wembanyama on the shoulder, and then his security guard knocked her hand away, and she ended up hitting herself in the face with the hand and with her own hand. And she said that she was backhanded by one of his security guards and that she was owed an apology, which again, video showed was not necessarily the case. And so, you know, fellas, let's just get right into this show, man. Is this the strangest sports story from this summer so far?
No. I was about to say that it was, and I got something to go back to regarding the whole Britney Spears Victor Wembanyama thing, but like, I know Chris don't want to hear this. It gotta be Jalen Green.
Oof.
We ain't got a lot of news this summer, but the Jalen Green thing is just like, huh? And I know we touched on it last week, but I don't know, man. I can't imagine the situation. To one, I would be doing that. Two, I'm cool with the homies recording. And three, I'm a 5-star basketball recruit. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna let this fly.
You're a freaky frog. That person is a freaky frog. Why are you doing that?
But Wembanyama and Brady is a close second.
Okay. All right. Chris, do you think that this is the wildest sports story that we've seen come out this summer?
It's been kind of a drought. Be honest with you. I mean, I would say, to be fair, other than the Ben Simmons debacle, yes. Other than the Ben Simmons debacle, yes.
Wait, what
That's been
happened to
this
Ben
summer?
Simmons?
Man, bro, what? Y'all haven't been seeing all the posts about Ben Simmons, bro? When he posted the workout videos, the EPSPs, like, they've been going.
I saw the SP thing, but that was from before, wasn't it?
Bro, they've been going in on Ben Simmons, bro.
He's building a
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was old, wasn't it? Or was that new?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is people been cooking him all summer long. All he been doing is posting pictures in the lab, and people been in it. Like, go on Ben Simmons' page when y'all bored, bro. And like, you bored, don't have nothing to do. Go on Ben Simmons' page and go through the comments, bro. it'd be like 10,000 to 20,000 comments. Everybody cooking him, bro. Just cooking him. It's like it's ridiculous.
Okay,
But
all right.
yeah, this is though.
I'm gonna tell y'all. I know that y'all aren't like big college sports fans, but college sports has been absolutely insane this summer. Insane. Coach Bob Huggins, one of the most legendary coaches in NCAA history,
Recognize the name.
known for press Virginia. West Virginia plays full court press style of defense. They play it for the entirety of the game. He's the person who started that. He got his third DWI. It's not funny. It's not funny that he got his third DWI.
I mean,
He got his third DWI and he resigned. But apparently he said, well, I didn't actually resign. Y'all just forced me out, but I didn't sign any resignation papers. So I'm still the head coach here.
huh?
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of them. And then the other one that is absolutely insane. Have y'all heard about what's going on at Northwestern with their football team?
I have not.
Their head coach just got fired, one of the winningest head coaches in program history, because there was alleged hazing that was. So two things. Number one, the hazing was of a semi homoerotic variety, and beyond that, there was also an environment of racism allegedly fostered at Northwestern. And I just said, damn, y'all boys checking off every ism on the bingo card, ain't you? You are one female staffer saying that they refused to promote me because I was a woman away from just getting all three in a row. You know, tic-tac-toe, brother, because what are y'all doing over there? What are y'all doing? So, I mean, this is like a whimsical one. This is funny. It's like how the Zion situation with Mariah Mills started off. Like, it's goofy.
Oh.
But, like, it's not, I don't think it's that bad.
Will we include Zion in the summer news cycle?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Oh, that's
100%.
definitely the craziest then.
I mean, I don't think it was that crazy. I think Mariah made it crazy.
Yeah, I think she made it by gassing it up the way she did.
Dropping 130 tweets straight. 130 tweets. You put up Wilt
With
numbers
no response, bro. That's
Man.
What they say? A triple double, no assists. You dropped 135 tweets straight with no response. Man, go on somewhere. Go on. So I want you arrested. Honestly, I want you arrested for harassment at that point. When Eli was talking about everybody had rate limits, they said, where was this at when Mariah was tweeting? Couldn't believe it.
I'm not gonna hold you. Those rate limits came out, and I thought my bookmarks was gone. Hey man.
Hey, listen. Honestly, I wasn't worried until they said that there was like some update that was like, go have our bookmarks public. I was like, hey, what? Hey.
Hey, if my bookmarks public, I am cooked.
Hey, deep
bro,
fried.
what y'all got in
Deep
bookmarks?
fried,
Hold
died
on,
and latest.
bro.
Chris, worry about yourself. That's what you do. That's what you do up there. Because you worried about things that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's what you got.
I don't incriminate myself, man. I don't like nothing. I don't touch nothing. I want my algorithm to be sports and skiing. That's all I want my
Hey,
algorithm to be.
it's a way to manage your algorithm and still be straight. My algorithm ain't nothing but NBA and WWE. That's it.
See, my algorithm not fun no more, bro. My algorithm is like straight think pieces. Like, it's literally like, oh my God, y'all thought this joke was funny? It's like, oh.
You remember when people used to get cooked on Twitter? Those was good times, man.
Those was great times.
What's
Remember when
your
Twitter jail was a thing? Remember when Twitter jail was a thing?
man?
Oh God, when I saw Mariah going off on the tweets, I'm like, put her in Twitter jail and
Man.
throw away the key, Brody. It's time. It's time to do it. Somebody do your job, okay? I know it's only 10 of y'all left at Twitter, but the 10 of y'all that's up there, somebody do your damn job. Speaking of jobs, fellas, that's what we gonna have our bit of randomness for the day be about. Today, we gonna dig into y'all work history a little bit. And it doesn't have to be about things that you've done or been involved in. It can just be things that you have witnessed or seen up close and personal. And they're going to get spicier, progressively spicier as we go along here. So which one was more memorable? Your best manager ever or your worst manager ever? And why?
I'm gonna have to go with my best manager ever because I done had. I'm honored to say I've had some jobs where I ain't really had the worst managers. You know what I'm saying? Some of them the homies, some of them just managers, but I can't say any of them has necessarily been bad. I've had some higher ups I ain't got along with, but like my direct manager, they've been cool for the most part. But honestly, my most memorable was probably when I worked in a Greek restaurant. I wasn't making a lot of money, but the manager was my older brother. So he was just sitting there kicking, cooling, you know what I'm saying? He was understanding. Honestly, that's one of my favorite jobs I ever had. If I was making more money, I'd probably still be in that restaurant to this day. They said, yo, you can make enough bread working in this restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Like, be straight, be set. I'll be working there for the rest of my life.
You was getting 213 plus tips.
Man, now I was behind house. I was making 10 an hour.
Oh, where you was washing dishes?
Yeah, no, I was in the kitchen. So when I did the short shift, I'd be in the kitchen from 11 to 3. And if I did the long shift, I'd be in the kitchen from 9 to 3 to no dishes from 3 to 8. Making 10 an hour. But you know what I'm saying? I enjoyed it. I was naive. I was like 19, 10 an hour. I was like, I've been eating.
Bro was kicking off the free tzatziki. That's crazy. That's crazy. Chris,
hey man, Greek food hit a spinach pie do be right now, bro.
Honestly, I've never had a shawarma. I've never had a shawarma that I was like, ew, this is terrible. What is this? Like,
Facts.
I went to this one spot. They put the shawarma. They put the fries in the shawarma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they put the fries in the. They was acting different. I'm not gonna lie. It was
the fries and the shawarma hit different.
It's
crazy.
Go crazy.
Especially when that thing is good and soggy to where it like blend in with the. Oh my god! It's, oh boy! Now I'm hungry. This is why my big self can't be talking about food on this show. We still got
by for a big dog.
And now I'm thinking about getting some Jazz Olive. Chris, which one was more memorable? Your best manager ever, your worst manager ever?
Definitely my best one, man. The worst ones, man, you try to forget. Like, I got some managers that I've had, and I've only had, I think, 5 managers total so far in my working career as a professional. Now, growing up, I've had more than that, but the best managers, they really leave an impression on you. They really instill some values in you. They instill some teachings in you. So, the best manager I had was my last boss, and he really developed me and made me want to be like him with a successful career. He worked at my company I'm at now for 27 years, and he had a very successful career. So,
I feel it. My best manager ever. Shout out Megan, man. Megan Larson. That's my dog. That's my homie. She breathed life into me like I've never had a manager do before. Like I've had managers tell me like, "Oh man, you're like good at this thing. I appreciate it." But I've never had a manager be like, "Yo, you're good, but you can be great. Like there's another level for you to reach, and these are the things I want you to do to reach it." And she like gave specific action items for like, this is how you really turn up and become a great recruiter. And I was like, lady, you've never done recruiting before, and she still like all the things that she put me on to. I still do them to this day, and still have like amazing results. And I've been able to, even during this very like. Y'all know I work in tech, and there have been, if you work in talent acquisition in tech right now, you are shaking in your boots. You are looking around for that axe to come down on your head. But still, I know, like, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to have, some motion, some job, because, I did great things there and moved on and did great things everywhere else I went because of her. Now, the next part of the job portion of this show, we're going to ask you, what is the worst thing that you have ever had to do at work?
That I've ever had to do?
Yeah. Or not that you've ever had to do, that you've ever seen somebody have to do at work.
Oh, that's a little bit.
You had to do it or you saw somebody do it, but just the worst thing. One of those things at the job that you just was like, it could be either terribly disgusted. It could be like something that's just like, nah, I couldn't do it, but somebody else did.
Oh, I got one because that was a little bit of a different question than I was expecting. So let me break it down for y'all. I worked at Wendy's in high school. Everybody that knew me in high school knew I worked at Wendy's because I was at work all the time, bro. Like they'd be like, yo, Guyton, come through, do this at the school. I gotta work, bro. Like I was working, bro.
Wait, Puffer Falls wasn't out when we was in
nope.
was it? That wasn't out yet.
We didn't even have a value menu at the time.
Yeah, that probably was an easy shift at Wendy's, boy. When they ain't had no value menu order for folks, that probably, you know what I mean? Them things
That's when the
Nice.
Baconator came out though. The Baconator
Yeah,
came out then.
yeah, that's facts.
oh, yeah, that
But
bacon.
at the same time, late nights was usually chill because if somebody up late night, they either usually broke or you know what I'm saying, they drunk and they trying to get some quick food. And Wendy's wasn't really the spot for night, so that was pretty chill. But I worked at the Wendy's on 15 and Grossbeck right there, and they closed for renovations like during that summer before freshman year of college. So they moved us all to different locations. You could pick your location. The closest one to me was the one that was like at Little Mac and 11 Mile. So I'm working at that one.
Very different environments.
Yeah. But so the manager at that Wendy's, his name was Jim. And he had this dude that worked the same hours as him. His name was Ralph. I'm using their real names. I don't care because this is like to this day, bro. I cannot grasp this. What's a pod friendly way for me to say this? Basically, bro, Ralph was like Samuel Jackson and Django to Jim. At Wendy's, bro. Like if he told him
25
dog, if he told him to and Ralph wouldn't know dude like he taking advantage of like some young naive person or something. Like Ralph had to be at least about 45. Bro, Jim tell that man to jump how high. They had this man scrubbing a drive-through, bro. With a brush and some degreaser. This man was outside scrubbing the drive-through with like a push broom, bro.
Hold on. You mean like the outside?
Like the outside, like the pavement.
Why would you scrub pavement with degreaser? That's not how you clean pavement. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Told you this is a crazy story.
That's so embarrassing.
Like he used to, bro, anything like it was to the point where you would literally be at the job and it'd be something that you don't want to do or something that's like, you know what I'm saying? I make at the time I would make like $7.30 an hour, bro. Like I'm not doing this. They'd be like, all right, yo, go ahead and do this, Ralph. Say the greaser work on anything. The greaser usually do some stuff, but like oil from cars has been setting that pavement for years. It wasn't doing nothing, dog.
People don't even understand when you power wash or when you pressure wash most like surfaces, you're not actually like cleaning the surface and getting like dirt and stuff. You're literally blowing away the top of that surface. Like that's in essence what you're doing with that. Why under God's green earth do you think degreaser would be?
I had this man brushing it, bro. Just spray some degreaser down, brushing it with a push broom.
They thought the degreaser worked there. How black people think Robitussin work, where it's like, oh my god, Mom, like I can't breathe. Take some Robitussin, you'll be alright.
Man, I tell you, they was doing this man dirty.
He did himself dirty. You can't live like that. So
I wonder what Ralph doing. Yeah, easily. Just it's not like one specific thing he was doing, but it's just the fact that he was just like this man was shucking and jiving for Wendy's, bro. it was wild to me.
Meanwhile, millennials could be making 6 figures at a job. Hey, bro, you're not finna stress me out today. You not.
Hey, facts.
You ain't gonna do it.
Bruh, they be so privileged, man.
Chris, what is the worst thing that you have seen somebody?
I forgot Chris, a manager. I can't be talking like that.
Hey, listen,
Jeez,
I don't
bro.
care who.
He said, so what's the worst thing I've ever had to do at work?
Yeah, you either had seen somebody have to do or you had to do at work.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think of something that's like, don't demoralize me as a human.
Jesus Christ, Chris. Jesus.
Well, I mean, I don't do nothing crazy at work, but so I had a temp operator, right? He was working at the plant, and he was working on my team, and I didn't want to do this, but I had to do it. So basically, he was making up all these excuses on why he could never be at work, right?
Right. I feel you.
And I'm like, you know, I finally asked him, like, listen, man, like, do you just need like time off? Like, do you just need to take a break from work or what? Like, because you never at work. So then he made up this story about how bandits are holding his mom hostage every day after work for $100,000 cash. And I was like, if your mama got $100,000 cash, why are you a temp operator for one? Like, not that your mama got to give you no money,
Wait, bro, what?
but what are you
He tried to
doing
hit bro
every
with
day?
the Tinder swindler. He said, "My enemies are after me."
So I'm like,
Bro, he said bandits.
yes, I have the messages to show y'all.
But
I
where do
will
you
show
live
y'all.
where you got bandits?
Listen, bro, the guy was from Africa, and he kept telling me that it was his mom back home. So I'm like, what are you doing after work? He's like, it's just too much. It's just too much. I can't process it. I have to leave every day, and then I call off because of it. And I was like, bro, like, why don't you just tell me straight up? Like, listen, I got other stuff I'm doing. I'm just a temp job. I'm trying to make some more money, you know? Just be straight up with me. So I end up terminating him as a temp. Okay? End up terminating him as a temp. What ends up happening is he didn't take that termination seriously. Bro started coming into work anyway. So, and it's a true story. I will show you on my message of my HR later. Literally, so I'm like, so you just decided to come to work today because you just thought that, you know, you still work here. He was like, well, I mean, I don't see a reason why you firing me. I told you I need money. My mom's getting robbed for $100,000 every day. I'm like, so we still going with this story. Like, you know, like this is still a thing. So he was like, you know what? I'm just going to quit. And I was just like, you're not even coming in the building. Like, your badge no longer has access into the building. Like, I'm confused on where the miscommunication was. I contacted the temp agency and told them not to terminate your contract.
Yeesh.
And bro just was like, you know what? I quit. Y'all not firing me. I quit. That's what he said. And I was like, you
Good
know
for
what?
him. Take a stand.
I was
brother.
like, go for it, buddy. I was like, go for it.
He said, hey, you can't fire me if I quit. How about that? How about that? You can't, you know, sir, you're already fired. Don't care. I quit. That's just what I'm doing. That's just what I'm doing. I'm gonna tell you, bro. I worked at FedEx for a while, and oof, that was rough. That was rough because like when people are talking about the UPS folks going on strike and whatnot, and talking about like, yeah, they treat the part timers terribly. They are not lying. They are not lying. I can tell you that right now.
They not lying at all.
They are not lying in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
They had you loading.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No. I worked in HR.
Okay.
They always used to joke with me all the time. The people on the line always used to joke with me like, bro, as big a stroke as you are, you need to be out here. And I'm like, no,
sir.
No, I don't. After I stopped playing football, I told myself I was done doing manual labor. Okay? In the words of SZA, I'm never going back. Never going back. No, you can't make me. You cannot make me. That was it. That was all the physical labor I had in me. But I remember there was a time where like people were not allowed to like clock in early or like come in early because they would clock in early. And so if they came in and clocked in early, they would like get paid and all that early. So like these people had to wait outside in the cold to like get lined up because they had to be on time, but they weren't allowed to clock in early. So they would just be outside in the concourse, just like waiting. Or like at best you could wait in your whip to like come. But mind you, like this is like 3 a.m. in the morning. So like that's when that shift started. And like they would either wait in their car or like wait in the actual like corridor and all that to come through. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, and that's cold, because 3 a.m. is cold.
Bro, what? That's the only time that I've ever felt North Carolina cold get a little disrespectful. It got a little, you know, it tapped you on your shoulder and told you, hey, bro, it's real out here. And I'm like, y'all waiting this every day? Babes, no, not me, not I. Can't do it. Never will. Refuse to. And now, for the spiciest question here, what's the messiest thing you've ever seen at work? Give me all the hot goss, as the kids would say.
I'm not gonna go into too much detail on mine, but basically, when the first time I worked in a call center, I don't know if any of y'all know about call centers.
We done heard about the call center. You gotta tell what happened, brother. What happened?
So, I was working at this call center. You know what I'm saying? It was about, I think the training there was like 2 weeks, maybe something like that. But the dude that was the trainer was this girl that would always come in that worked there that would like flirt with the trainer or whatever and be like, hey, what's up, newbies and this and that, right? So when it came to like, shadow, when we actually got on the floor, they had me shadow her. See what I'm saying? We walk into her desk and my man's like, it's some dude I don't know, but I'm walking past him and he tapped me like, hey, it's your turn. And I'm like, huh? I would just say that consenting adults were having turns with a particular young lady in that office. And apparently that was like your rite of passage to work there.
Question: did you actually fulfill your term?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't mix work and pleasure.
I don't like that question, Gibbs. I don't like that question, Gibbs.
Hey, I'm DJ Vladden right now. I'm DJ Vladden. I'm sorry. My bad. Chris, what's the messiest thing that you have either done or witnessed at work? Talk to me.
So this one. No, I'm just joking. I ain't gonna go into that. But no. So unfortunately, I work in a plant, and plant life is just very, very, very crazy. It's just very crazy.
Hey, what's number one, plants or call centers?
Honestly, I'll say it's 1A and 1B because but let me tell y'all this though. It's almost every job is like that. The only difference is like these are jobs where people can't afford to like be sneaky in a good way. Because like I've interned or like worked at some places where it's like pretty like highfalutin and the same stuff be going on. It's just like like they can afford a hotel room out of town so like nobody sees them. Like you never know.
So
I've heard at auto plants, bro. I've heard of like people stepping off the line, beating real quick, and going straight back to work.
Yeah.
Listen, bro.
Yeah,
I work in automotive. I run a $24 million plant with about 47 people in the building. Right. Let me tell you something about plants, man. Some stuff happens in plants that you cannot even explain. Right. So, being the plant leader, right. I'll make this story short. But being a plant leader, people gonna act different when I'm around versus when I'm not around, right?
Right.
At one point was a member of the team of the plant, reporting to the plant leader. Then I became a plant leader, right? And it was, hard for me not to use my common knowledge of stuff that I knew that was going on before I became the plant leader. So we had a young lady on first shift. Unfortunately, she has 4 kids, and she always talk about being a single mom, right? And, it just so happens that a lot of people, they just took breaks at the same time as her. And I, before I was the plant leader, I didn't understand this. I was like, oh, yeah, that's just what they take their breaks. But then when I had to take responsibility, I had to kind of, figure out, like, why 2 people taking breaks at the same time? Does it make sense financially for us? Does it, is it hurting the business or is it helping the business? So I asked her, I said, why do you usually, coordinate your break with somebody else? She goes, well, just to have some fun, have somebody to talk to, stuff like that. So, operators in the plant, they're a little messy, especially when like the plant leader's walking around, right? So the girl's like, you should just go outside one day when she goes to break. I was like, why? I'll get to the story. Apparently, her side hustle was doing favors for people at the plant to make some money because she was a single mom. That was her side hustle.
I wasn't expecting that part. I wasn't expecting the bread part.
I'm not surprised. Why weren't you expecting the bread part? Is what actually makes sense out the story.
She was doing favors for people in the plant. Mind you, it wasn't just men either. It was men and women doing favors for people at the plant to make some extra money. That's how I'm gonna word that story.
How does the song by City High go?
What you doing if your son is at home crying all alone
on the bedroom floor because he's hungry?
Hey, what's the only way to feed him, Gibbs?
Hey, sleep with a man for a little bit of money. You know what I mean? You do what you gotta do. City High ain't never lie. You know what I mean? That 40 ball been in rotation for the longest.
And it's just crazy because, obviously we handled that operator, but it's kind of hard to like handle everybody else that was part of it because you don't really have evidence, right? The only evidence you
Right.
have is somebody told you. So like that person, they owned up to it. That's how we were able to, handle them. But everybody else, like, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know nothing about that. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. So it's like
Somebody
it
gotta
became a little
know.
tricky. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I kind of left it alone there because it was getting messy and people were scared to go to work every day. So I was like, you know what? If stuff happens, it comes to the light eventually. So
Lord Jesus, I know that $40 button on the ATM near y'all was wore out.
The number on it wore out. The bank.
The 4 and the 0 was looking chipped and dirty and ain't nothing left. That 40, spare me, please. Spare me. I think I talked about this before on the show, but I don't know. I may not have. So one of the places that I work, again, I've been doing HR recruiting for quite some time now, and one of the places that I work, I had to keep track of the records of everybody who came in and came out in terms of like transferring in, transferring out, and all that good stuff. And you would see the record of like where they transferred to, how long, all that type of stuff, how long they were at wherever they were at before they came there, if they had transferred inside the company, inside the same division. So we had one person, we had a manager who requested somebody who was going to work under them, hey, can you make sure that this transfer gets filed? Make sure that, just like put a rush on this one. And I'm like, bro, like I get all the transfers that I can process, but
Yeah, like I'm getting some cheap.
I got you. Exactly. I'm like, I got you. Like, I don't know why you in such a rush, but all right, I got you. Whatever. So my boss comes in shortly after that gentleman leaves and says, what was he here about? And I'm like, he was talking about a transfer. He said it was a specific transfer that he wanted to get, expedited or whatever the case may be. And immediately, like me personally, I really didn't care. I was just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna get her transfer process. I like
Mind your business.
My manager did not. My manager did not mind her business. That was not. She said, "No, this is my business, buddy. This is my business." So her red flags went off, and so she was like, "Pull that file for me." And so I looked at it, looked at all the places that the young woman had transferred, and I said, "Yeah, this is all the places she's been." And my manager said, "I'll be right back." She went to go get his file, and she looked at, his file of where he had transferred and where he had been. There was a direct overlap for like the last 3.5, 4 years of like they had been working together. Wherever they went together, or like one was a month behind the other.
Right.
And then they said, all right, we need to monitor that to see what's going on. But then it kind of died down because like nothing happened and it just was like cool. And then one day somebody comes into the office and says, hey, I saw a manager kiss one of the people under them. And everybody in the office is like, because for those of you who don't know, fraternization is like, that's an HR headache regardless of where you go. Because there's always so many things that got to go into it. You got to figure out whether or not things are consensual and like who needs to be disciplined, how, whatever. It's a very messy situation. This got the investigation that was closed because the block was hot on them and it was good for the couple of weeks that they were being, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, you're under surveillance. And they were good. When they were under surveillance, they were good. But somebody came in and said they saw one of the folks kissing another one of the folks, and it was those two. Now, here's where the story gets really messy. Not only were they following each other around, not only were they seen kissing like in the actual building, we went to both of their Facebooks. And of course they were friends on Facebook. But here's the more interesting part. They were both married with children to other people.
No.
These two have been following each other around, having these work affairs for like years.
Oh, years is crazy.
For years. Meanwhile, they're both married to other people outside of work. It was the craziest thing that hurt my heart so bad because I'm like, there are two people who are just like completely unsuspecting. Like, oh, my husband and wife is going to work. Like, that's what they're doing. And whole time, they go into Pound Town between doing what they're supposed to be doing at work. What a nasty gig. That's just ooh.
She said, "My son need a new pappy." Yeah.
No, you know. I'm gonna tell you though, what type of impression did they have to make on one another for like them to follow each other around for 4 years?
Man.
Must have been some great times there. But anywho, speaking of impressions, we gotta talk Summer League, fellas, because it is that time of the year. We are in our annual tradition of everybody overreacting to Summer League. Fellas, give me your best overreaction to Summer League so far. Talk to me.
I think the biggest overreaction to Summer League is just performances that we see that may be good or bad at this level. I mean, we've seen Summer League plenty of times. Kyle Kuzma was Summer League MVP. Mm-hmm. If you remember that team, that Lakers team, I think it was Lonzo, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, Caruso. People thought the Lakers was gonna run the league the next year because they had a good summer league. So I think that the biggest overreactions I've seen has been to Wemby's bad game and good game. He was the number one pick, the most highly sought out recruit since Zion, maybe Bron. So, I mean, I understand those overreactions. Another one, Asura Thompson of the Pistons had a really good game last night. He showed some good intangibles, good athleticism, still can't shoot worth a lick. But people were talking like Asura is about to be him based off a clip of 2 alley-oops in the game that I saw yesterday.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Chris, what's your biggest... Oh, hold on. Before we get there, you are absolutely right about the whole like Lakers thing, because I was talking about that on TikTok the other day. And, like, people don't realize how much damage that Summer League did in terms of the perception of that
Man.
as opposed to the reality. Because I remember when the Lakers made the trade for Anthony Davis and everybody was like, the Lakers got fleeced, totally fleeced, Batman. This is disgusting. they're going to be... And I'm like, you sure about that? That core... Because if we look at what that core has done to this point, Lonzo is like, what? 2 more injury-prone years away from playing in La Liga.
No. He's already sitting out another
Lonzo's
season.
done.
I think Lonzo gonna retire, bro.
Yeah, Lonzo career done.
Oh.
He's
sitting
got the
up.
John Wall stuff, bro. Like, he keep getting, like, they repairing it.
So he got degenerative knees.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, well,
I think
Lonzo's
he's
done.
retiring. Yeah.
So, okay. But even outside of Lonzo, right? Like, even if you said Lonzo would have stayed healthy, okay, cool. Look at Kuzma. Look at Brandon Ingram. Look at Alex Caruso. Like, and this is no disrespect to any of those young men because they're all high-level NBA players, right? Kyle Kuzma is probably going to be the number 2 option in Washington this year.
Number 1.
Cool is crazy.
No, Cool's the number 1 option. When the season,
That's what I'm saying. Behind Jordan Poole.
No, I'm sorry. I meant the other way around. I think Cool's gonna be the number 1 option on that team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Him being like Gibbs saying him behind Jordan Poole is crazy.
My bad, player. My fault. I'm sorry. I just don't imagine either one of them is number 1s. I think they're just gonna have 2 number 2s. It's just.
I wouldn't even call them number 2s.
But
if you're about playing winning basketball, you got 2 number 4s.
Whoa.
Hey, that's nasty work.
Wait, did Kuzma get a ring with the Lakers? I feel like he did.
Yeah.
I feel like he did. And
he was starting.
He was the 3 or 4 on that team, wasn't he?
I would probably say he was the 4. I would say he's the 4.
Because there was
had Bron, AD,
Rondo.
Then,
Well, Rondo wasn't a score option, though. No, the third scoring option was KCP.
Yeah, I was about to say, I would put KCP at 3rd.
Yeah, KCP at 3, then Kuzma at 4, probably.
That's tough. That's real tough. Interesting. Anywho,
low key, I don't know, because Caruso was on that team too.
Caruso wasn't Caruso yet, though. He was there strictly for on ball D.
Not only was Caruso not Caruso yet, but Caruso wasn't part of that trade. He wasn't. He stayed in LA after that trade, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, even if you would have traded that entire core for Anthony Davis, I wouldn't have been mad at number 1. Number 2, what have the Pelicans done with all those picks, with all that good stuff? I remember somebody said that
they drafted Zion.
Ooh, wow! Look how that's worked out for him. Oh my God, what a team that Pelican squad is. What were they doing with Anthony Davis? What, second round, first round, second round exits?
I don't think they made it past the first round.
They didn't make it past the first round.
Yeah, only time I remember them being in the playoffs is with that year they lost to Golden State.
Okay, and where'd they get eliminated this year?
In the play-in?
No, did they? I thought they made it the first round.
I don't think so.
You're right. They didn't.
The Pelicans, yeah, they didn't. No,
Yeah, they lost to Minnesota, right? Yeah.
You're right. You're right. Interesting. Very interesting. So it seems like they didn't take much of a step forward after that trade, huh?
Not at all. Not at all.
I hate to see that. Anyway, Chris, what is your biggest overreaction from the Summer League so far?
I hate to say it. I hate to say it. I hate to be that guy. I hate to be that guy. But I'm going to be that guy.
Be that guy.
This Brandon Miller is going to be okay. Reaction. Like, I don't think people realize, but the first 3 games, he had more fouls than points. You know, he started a trend on Twitter. The trend, I don't know if y'all was on Twitter when this happened. You can't foul out of a summer league game. People were saying that. People started asking that question because he had that many fouls. I am worried for this man. He came into the league talking about Paul George, his favorite player, and the Hornets going to the finals. He set himself up for failure.
Okay, can I say something real quick, though? For people that age, them saying Paul George is their favorite player is not that crazy to me. You know why? Here's why.
Them calling PG the GOAT is crazy.
How many people our age say that TMac was their favorite player? Or that TMac the best player?
A lot of people. TMac the reason I'm a Rockets fan. Yeah.
Is that not similar comparisons? Paul George and TMac is
the GOAT though. I never call TMac the GOAT though.
I mean, calling him the GOAT is crazy, but saying he your favorite player, TMac and Paul George kind of the same player to me.
Hold on.
That's a big stretch.
It's not. How much postseason success have they had?
PG been to the conference finals.
Josh, please stop playing.
I'm very serious.
Please. Stop.
I'm very serious.
I'm gonna sit back and watch this one. Gives like he about to erupt.
I'm very serious.
Josh.
The only thing you can definitively say T-Mac is better than Paul George at is creating a shot.
He's better at creating a shot. He's a better facilitator than him.
No, he's not. T-Mac is not a better facilitator than Paul George.
Yeah, I'm gonna get at the Paul George.
I'm very serious. I'm very serious.
Bro,
I'm gonna get at the Paul George.
T-Mac. All right, can I?
I'm very serious.
I mean this from the bottom of my heart. T-Mac has played with how many players that, like, offensively, you were like, oh, they're a force. This is a guy. This is a dude.
He played with like 5 his whole career.
I wouldn't even go that many. I'd say 2. I'd say 2.
He played with Vince Carter. He played with Yao Ming.
Okay.
He played with
only
Shane
2.
Battier.
And Shane Battier was a force. He was a force, Chris.
well, I mean, when you say force, I'm thinking you talking about somebody.
I'm not saying a good player. I mean a guy that you look at and say, like, hey, not only does he take pressure off of T-Mac, but if T-Mac's having an off night, brother,
Who did he play with in Orlando? Who did he play with in Orlando?
Who did he play with in Orlando? That's a great question.
Y'all know I'm the trivia man. Daryl
was 2 we
Armstrong.
can agree on.
Daryl Armstrong was at the point. T-Mac was at the 2. Was Tony Battie at the 3? What is that we have? But Tony Battie at the 3. It was a bum at the 4. Grant Hill was supposed to be at the 3. Who was at the 4? I don't know. Pat Garrity was at the 5.
I'm saying all this to say that in that game back then, for him to put up the numbers that he was putting up and to make those look like serviceable offenses it was nothing short of a masterclass. It was nothing short of a masterclass. And to say that T-Mac is a better shot creator, we all know that by a mile. To say that he is not a better facilitator is absolutely insane because the best offensive player that you can say that T-Mac ever played with was what, a year 1 or 2 Vince Carter?
Year 1.
Stop playing.
I'm looking it up now.
Stop.
He played with a lot of guys when they was washed. That's the problem. Because I forgot he played with Grant. I forgot he played with washed up Sean Kemp. I forgot he played with a couple guys. Like he played with.
And PG was playing with legitimate superstars, with legitimate guys where he wasn't even the number 1 option on a lot of those teams, and he was okay. And man, stop playing. Stop.
Paul George is a better defender.
Yeah, he's a better defender. I give that.
Paul George is a better shooter. If we had a 3-point contest, I'm talking about if we talking about just shooting the ball.
And this is what I'm saying. By comparison, because I don't think that it's fair, and this is the same thing in terms of LeBron and Jordan. I don't think to compare their 3-point shooting because it was a different game.
Yeah, agree.
People were okay with telling T-Mac, hey, man, if you master that 25-footer, shoot it all game long. And now, I don't care who you are. You're not being allowed to take mid-range jumpers unless you're the top one of the top couple scorers in the league. Also, T-Mac led the league in scoring twice and was top 6 in scoring for what, 5 or 6 years straight?
Till he got hurt.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here? The chasm between those two offensively is big enough for me to be like, T-Mac never played with a really, really good point guard.
All I'm saying is Paul George is this generation's T-Mac. That's all I'm saying.
He's not.
But who's this generation's T-Mac? It's Paul George. They play basketball the same way, bro. They play basketball the same way.
I get where you're going with that. I get where you're going at, and you're somewhat right. But
in terms
what
of
T-Mac did
success,
for that era of hoops, what T-Mac did for our era of hoops, like back with them Rocky days, like Paul George wouldn't even scratch the surface.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I think we.
Somebody boots
I think we highly.
Somebody boots. Not better than Playoff P. Y'all know where the name Playoff P came from, right? His lack of performance in the playoffs. Like, what are we?
Well, it came from him naming himself that, then throwing up a couple stinkers in the playoffs.
That man, listen. That man threw up more air balls than Aang against the Fire Lord. What are we doing here? What? Listen, I mean this very genuinely. T-Mac is one of those players that was cursed by things that was out of his control. When you look at all of the teams that were supposed to be really good, because people have this perception that T-Mac was on a bunch of really good teams, when in reality, he was not. He simply was not. How many times did Yao Ming play a majority of the season? Like more than 60% of the season.
3-4 times?
3 or 4 times. That was all T-Mac had to figure that out. That was all he had. Again, playing with Vince Carter for a year, and people are like, yeah, bro, no playoff success. What? Listen, I'm sorry, but if you make Rafer Alston anybody's point guard in the NBA, I don't think they'll have a lot of success. I just doubt it. It's not.
I don't think it's that. I just don't think it's that big of a guy. I love T-Mac, bro. T-Mac, one of my favorite players ever. I'm just saying they're the same player.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. This is, you finna make me blow a gasket. My biggest.
Do they not hoop the same way?
You Josh, just saying that because they got the same like body beat.
They got the same bag.
Josh, here's the thing. Here's why
PG
I say
could dribble better. I say that.
What is PG's most memorable moment? What is PG's most memorable?
When he was with Indy playing against the Heat.
He was on Indy, probably yamming on Birdman.
Yamming on Birdman. Okay, yamming on Birdman. How'd that series turn out for him?
Hey, man, that man was 22 playing against Brian. His second best option was David West, bro.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. What's T-Mac's best moment?
13 and 31 against the Spurs.
Oh, okay. All right. It's one of those Reggie Miller moments where, like,
hey, man, Paul George's best moment was in the playoffs.
His best moment was one singular play in the playoffs.
T-Mac's best moment was on a Thursday night in February.
In a literal series where him overplaying LeBron, who everybody knew his weakness, which is just objectively, the percentages work out in a way where you shouldn't do this, was overplaying Bron and giving him an easy lane to the rim.
He was a kid.
Playing him 3 feet behind. probably
Paul George
more
was
than
in his
that.
third year, bro.
I mean, you didn't expect him to beat the Heat, but at the
I
same
didn't.
They
time,
took him to
Beat him.
7.
But I did expect him to beat him. But guess what?
You didn't expect him to take him to 7 either.
If you're supposed to be the guy, you're supposed to be special, you're supposed to be this two-way lockdown, I'm expecting you not to overplay one of the
Wasn't nobody
best
calling
drive-
Paul George a two-way lockdown in 2013, bro?
I'll say this.
Nobody was calling Paul George that.
I'll say this. Paul George should be mad at Bron because Bron definitely the reason why he didn't get a ring. Because you look at the teams that Bron beat, that 2012 ring Bron got, if the Pacers played that Thunder team, I think the Pacers would have won that series too.
I can hear you out if you say that Doc Rivers is the reason he didn't get a ring. There's an argument for it. Paul George is the reason Paul George don't got a ring. You
Man,
went
all
up
I'm saying,
3-1.
Paul George was in year 3.
That man, okay, fine. Let's go beyond that. That man went up 3-1.
The reason we're talking about Paul George right now is in comparison to T-Mac, and you bringing up playoff moments, which T-Mac never reached the second round.
He did have an injury bug though.
Because he played, bro. What people talk about how bad Brown teams were. Do y'all realize T-Mac really was in the trenches out there?
Bro, you can make it to in the 2000s. You can make it to the second round with a trash team.
Oh my god.
Most playoff teams had 1 star back then. It wasn't
I don't know about
teams
that,
with 2,
'cause
3 stars.
I don't know about that. In the
That's
West,
fair.
I don't know about that because Melo couldn't get to the second round to save his life some seasons.
We talking about the East. T-Mac spent a lot of time in the East.
Okay.
I mean, but his best basketball was usually Houston though.
I disagree. His best basketball, he
think
was
his best basketball was
in
with the
Orlando.
Magic. Yeah, I think it was with the Magic.
Really?
But
Y'all think he was better?
He already started getting hurt by the time he hit Houston.
But any way you cut it or slice it, you cannot name 2 to 3 players from either one of those teams that you're like, oh yeah, that player, he like was a very impactful player. I'm not even saying like a force, just a very impactful player, positively impacted the game a ton. You can't name 3 that played with T-Mac in that entire stretch, in his entire prime. You can't name 3. You can't. I'll give you Yao and Shane Battier. I'll even give you those 2. Who was the third guy?
Well, I gave you Vince Carter. I mean, if you're gonna give me Shane Battier,
He wasn't in that. Vince wasn't in that space between Orlando and Houston. He
All
wasn't
right,
in
if that's the
that space.
case for Paul George, give me more than 3 during his quote unquote prime.
Roy Hibbert was Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
Man, Roy. Okay, give me Roy Hibbert. I give you Roy Hibbert.
David West, Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard. What are we saying?
Kawhi is not Paul George prime, bro. Kawhi is not Paul George prime, bro.
he low-key hoop better now.
3-1 against the Jazz, and you're telling me that that's not near.
That's not his prime, bro. That's not Paul George prime, bro. We can all definitively say, at least me personally, I was pretty confident Paul George's best days was behind him when he signed that contract to play in Los Angeles.
This is insane.
Nah, bro.
I feel
He
like
hooped
was
better. He
I feel
hooped
like
better
it
his
was
first
all
years
world.
in.
That's what,
Clippers
bro.
when
People
he
were
was
talking
healthy.
about him as an MVP candidate that year.
His first year in Los Angeles?
Was it his first
Yes!
year? It was one of the-
Hey,
it was his-
It was one of the years in Los Angeles where he was a legit MVP
Bro,
candidate for a bulk of the year.
People was
bro.
saying
What are
that
we
he's
doing?
better now before he got injured.
That's crazy. I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now. I can't. We supposed to be
But
talking
I ain't gonna lie.
We talking about number 2s. We talking about number 2s. We saying T-Mac never had a solid number 2.
Not really. Again, we just asked.
Paul
you
George
that,
did not
so-
have a championship number 2 in Indiana.
I'm not saying the championship number 2. I'm saying again, very impactful players that you look at and say like, hey, this guy's going to be there consistently and he's going to very positively impact the game. Like a Hall of Very Good Guy. You can't tell me that prime Roy Hibbert ain't a Hall of Very Good Guy. You can't tell me that.
You can't say.
get you right.
Only reason you can't
Roy
say that
Hibbert-
is because his prime was like 2. Well, Roy Hibbert was good for like 2 years. That same series we talking about in Miami. Wait, that same series we talking about in Miami when Paul George dunked on Birdman and it went to 7 games. Do you know how many rebounds Roy Hibbert averaged that series?
What, 7, 8?
1.3.
Eesh, that's tough. That's tough. I did not know that happened.
That's what I'm saying.
So if
can't-
Roy
you
Hibbert
can't do Roy Hibbert.
averaged 6 rebounds, Indiana put Miami out the playoffs.
Okay, but still, any other way you look at it, I'll give you him. What about Russell Westbrook? You played with a whole MVP.
You got Westbrook.
What about
I'll give you Westbrook.
Kawhi Leonard? Kawhi Leonard, a
Like
whole
I said,
multi-time Finals MVP.
I don't think
What are we
I'm putting
doing
that.
here?
I don't think I'm putting that in Paul George's prime, man. In my personal opinion, Paul George was washed by the time we got to Los Angeles.
Paul George still in his prime, guy. He's still in his prime.
No, he not.
Wait a minute. Hold
Bro,
on.
No, he not.
When Paul George is healthy, he averages almost 30 a game.
I can't
Almost
believe
30 a
what
game.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Bro, this is the NBA in 2023. Everybody averaging 30 a game.
I really can't believe what I'm hearing right
Okay.
now. I really can't believe. And the fact that we got so derailed about this is really pissing me off too.
It was
Because
more-
there's no way-
it was more
there's
players.
no way that y'all believe this. There's no way that you genuinely
Hey,
believe
stop saying y'all. I'm on the
You're
T-Mac
right,
side of
you're
the
right.
fence.
There is no way that you genuinely believe this, Josh. This is crazy.
I don't
This
think
is
it's that crazy. I don't think it's that crazy.
Oh my god.
We get the facts over X socials with this.
We need to make a poll about this because this is. And I don't even think recency bias is enough to give Paul George like
is
a close-
Paul George?
Y'all know
this
I'm not a
generation's
recency
T-Mac?
bias. You know I'm not a recency bias kind of person.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not either, and I know for a fact that Paul George just is not him. He's not him. He's had so many.
Gibbs, you do have a
As much
vendetta
as I
against Paul
loved,
George,
as
though.
much as I love T-Mac, neither was T-Mac. You can't be him and not get out the first round of the playoffs. I don't care who you was playing with.
Listen, you're legitimately insane.
No, I'm not.
legitimately hearing
No,
this
I'm
right
not.
Again. All right.
Okay,
sure.
okay, we can settle this like this. Is T-Mac a top what player in NBA history?
If we did a ranking, bro,
I say top
Paul George and
40.
T-Mac go end up in the same 5 of each other.
I mean this.
Please tell me how they not. Please tell me how they not.
I mean this very genuinely. Anybody who puts Paul George inside their top 50, I would like to ask why. I would very seriously like to ask why.
Okay. I would also like to
What has he
ask,
done?
why is T-Mac in your top 50? Because you like the way he played? Because he played cool basketball? He don't have no accolades to back it up.
Hold on.
He don't have no accolades, bro.
Hold on. All right, I'm about to read y'all both players, right? But I'm not gonna say the names when I read this, right? 13 seasons, 10 playoffs played, 8 All-Stars, 1 NBA first team, 6 All-NBA teams, 2 All-Defensive first teams, 4 All-Defensive teams, 1 steals leader.
That's
Okay.
definitely Paul George.
That's Paul George. I'm gonna give you Tracy McGrady. 16 seasons, 9 playoffs played, 7-time All-Star, 2-time first MVP, so he got one up on Paul George there. 7 All-Star selections, he got one up on Paul George. Played more seasons, I give you that guy. 0 all-defensive team, first team, 0 all-defensive teams, 2-time scoring leader, and 0 steals leader. Now I'm gonna go stats. 20 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, and 1.7 steals a game, 0.4 blocks a game. Again, that's Paul George. Tracy McGrady, 19.6 points per game, so a point lower, literally a point lower. 5.6 rebounds per game, 4.4 assists, so assist higher than Paul George.
I can't make no final. I'm talking about the chat. The chat talk about also T-Mac did make a final.
They talking about on the
T-Mac made a
Spurs,
final?
bro. When he was on the Spurs.
He was on
He
the Spurs.
I mean,
Hey,
technically, they're right.
what's crazy though? T-Mac is still leading him in every category except steals all time, and Paul George is only 3 seasons behind.
Here's the thing that I would like to note here. In a game that was slower and more isolation based, he's averaging more assists. And mind you, this is including like the washed Pistons T-Mac. That's included in there. What are we doing here, man?
I don't think it's that far of a gap, man.
Oh my god.
It's not though. On paper,
I don't think it's that far of a gap, bro.
On God, on paper, it's not. Giz. I'm looking at the fact. On paper,
this is
Guyton
crazy.
kind of got a point.
This is
It is
crazy.
really it's neck and neck.
Here's the only problem with the accolades. When T-Mac was in the league, that was one of like the toughest times ever to get in terms of All NBA for two guards. You just were not seeing. And here's the thing. I'll even give Paul George, hey, man, the fact that you made a first team All NBA in this era of small forwards, amazing. Great. That means you had to beat out Bron, Melo, KD. You know, you had to beat out some Hall of Famers, sure. But other than that, what? Come on, man. Come on.
I might have to lean Paul George after seeing him. I just sit there. The defensive is like, just like you said, Gibbs, he just as much of a threat defensively as he is offensively.
Yeah, listen, I am not about to sit up here and lie to you and say, oh, T-Mac is the same defender that Paul George is. No way, no how. No.
I think I might have to go Paul George now.
I'm saying offensively, this is not like oh, man, they're neck and neck. They're pretty close.
No, they kind of are, though, Gibbs.
Again, you're reading the stats from a time where the pace of play was a lot slower, and you're reading the stats of somebody who was surrounded by a four-man that our brother here who can remember all of the MVPs back to what?
78.
78 couldn't name. He couldn't name the stars.
No, he never finished top. He didn't finish top 10 in MVP voting on the Clippers. His last year in OKC, he was number 3 in MVP voting though.
Oh, okay. So he played with prime Russell Westbrook in his prime, is what you're saying. He played with a Hall of Famer in his prime.
Just like
and not just
like
the Hall
T-Mac.
of Famer from like Russell Westbrook grew the game in LA type Hall of Fame. No. Russell Westbrook, Mr. Average a triple-double Russell Westbrook. Or we could talk about, him playing with, again, a first ballot guy in Kawhi. And for whatever reason.
Did they make it out the first round?
Yep. If you have a finals MVP. And here's the other difference. If you have a finals MVP with you, I talk about this a lot when people talk about the difference between Cade Cunningham and what's that boy's name from the 76ers? Maxey. And people are, if you give Maxey as many shots as Cade and all this, he'd do the same thing as Cade. Yeah, but if you give Cade the same attention that Maxey gets, Cade's going off at 35 a night. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Very true.
If you give him third option attention, Cade is going to cook your team in a special way. He's going to take your guard to the post and be like Livingston, living and dying from there. Not Kawhi. PG has not been the first option on a lot of these teams and still is not. We're talking about, he doesn't have playoff success.
I don't know, Gibbs, but
we're talking about
PG's bag is crazy, bro. His bag is crazy, bro.
You not Gibbs feel about bags.
Oh my God.
His bag is crazy, Gibbs.
Chris, you gonna
that boy hit you with
a Chris, you gonna make me lose hair down he got. You gonna make me lose hair. You know what? We got to move past this because we have spent entirely too much time on this, and we want to get folks out of here. But we have to talk about this Dame situation before we go because we let it slide last week because we had too much going on. But we got to talk about the Dame situation. What is going on in the Pacific Northwest? What is happening? What has happened to the trade talks? How have they fallen apart so quickly?
The trade talks have fallen apart because Damian Lillard is not going anywhere. The season is going to start. Just like I said on this show a plethora of times, Damian Lillard at the start of the 2023-24 season is going to be a Portland Trailblazer. If he was
Damian Lillard, what is it? Damian Lillard Toyota or Damian Lillard Honda? They're not selling that many whips. Get out of there, bro. Get out of there. That's crazy.
If he was going to get traded, he would have been traded already.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Chris, what's going on, man? What happened?
I'm sad to say this, bro. But Dame he's lost his leverage. Dame has lost his leverage. So 2 things here to point out. When you talk about leverage, you point out things that are in the favor of the player. So let's name a few things that are not in the favor of Dame. How much money he makes. Portland paid you all that money as a long-term thank you to you for staying in Portland, staying loyal, and understanding that we're going to try our best to build a team around you, but paying you all this money makes us limited, right? Second thing, they paid Jeremy Grant. That's another thing that doesn't go in Dame's favor for a couple reasons, right?
Dame wanted Jeremy Grant to be part of his big 3, though.
Right. But you already paying Dame a boatload of money. You paying Jeremy Grant a boatload of money. So your options to go get another star are almost minimal. You have to trade Jeremy Grant, right? So that's the next thing. The third thing that Dame lost a lot of leverage on, he signed that big contract thinking that he was just the best thing next to sliced bread. And guess what? He has no trade clause. Even Bradley Beal was smart enough to get a no trade clause when they paid him that bag.
Well, I don't think it was Bradley Beal was smart enough. The Wizards were dumb enough to give it to him. Because there ain't no way I'm putting a no trade on Bradley Beal. That's insane.
Yeah, you got to
That's
be
insane.
elite of the elite to get a no trade clause from me.
If you gave me a ring, I'll give you a no trade. That would be my negotiating if I was talking to any player. I'll say, if you bring me a ring, hell, if you take me to the finals. If you take me to the finals and you the number one, I'll give you a no trade. Sure. I'll give you a no trade. Anything short of that, no trade for what?
And forcing your way to Miami is just, I believe he will get to Miami, right? Because I feel like Portland's going to realize, don't no team want a disgruntled star. And I don't think I think Dame bluffing. I think Dame will still show up and be a professional wherever he gets traded to. But will he want to play every night? I don't think he will. I think he will, take his usual breaks if he goes to a bad team that had a lot of assets. I think he would, play at a high level some games, and in some games he would coast. However, what I do think, if Dame got to another situation and talked to a couple people, then Dame would perform how Dame should perform. Like if he got traded to the Celtics, for example, I think Dame wins in all cylinders on that Celtics team. If he gets traded to the Bucks, for example, I think Dame wins. If he gets traded to Philadelphia, I think Dame wins in that situation. Mm-hmm. So it's some things that other teams have to do better at persuading Dame. Like Miami isn't the only answer. Are they going to do that? Probably not, because he's going to be making $60 million at the age of 35.
I think that this is a very simple situation where not only did Dame give up his leverage, the Trailblazers gave up their leverage. I had been saying for quite some time now, and people didn't want to listen to me, Dame is not the number one on the championship team. And I was the bad guy for saying that. I was all types of, you don't know ball, you don't know. Well, the results are the results. Has he been the number one on the championship team?
You can't say TMac didn't have a chance and then say...
Okay. Has he been the number one on the finals team?
No.
He's been the number one on the conference finals
team. But come on, hold on.
T-Mac ain't been the number one on the team in the second round.
Hold
on, Gibbs. Hold on. You just argued Guyton down about T-Mac, right? And how he didn't have the horses in the stable.
Y'all are not.
Dame, only reason why Dame doesn't have a final appearance is because he went against the We Believe Warriors.
Y'all are not getting what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Dame is a bad player. I'm not saying that Dame. Here's the thing. When I said Dame was incapable of being a number one on a championship team, I said that 2 years ago. I want to say when we first started doing this podcast.
Started this March 2020.
March 2020. So about 3 years ago. Dame from 3 years ago to now, y'all still believe that version of Dame is the number one on the championship team?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about every version of Dame. I believe that those younger versions of Dame, had they given him adequate talent, absolutely. I'm talking about Dame in this present moment. If you were to ask me about Rockets T-Mac and you were like, hey, should the Rockets blow it up or should they hang on to T-Mac? What do you think I would have said? Blow it up. Blow it up. Why be stuck in, we'll be the 6th seed and we'll get bounced every year. Or, we'll be the 6th seed and we'll hope that we get some injuries, break our way. Bro, blow it up. Blow it up. Go do your thing. You don't need to have a 12-year rebuild like the 76ers did. I'm joking. I know it wasn't 12 years, but the process was.
It was close. It was close.
5.
It was longer than Taylor Swift's back. Okay, that's all I know. That thing was too long.
Yo.
So with that being said, I'm looking at this situation with Dame, and again, this is not an indictment on him as a player. This is not saying that he has never been, because I will admit that he has been. If you put a decent team, not decent, if you put a good team around him, he's had times where he'd be the number one on the championship team. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, at this juncture here, at these last couple years that we've seen from him, why would I not say, hey, man, it's been great. It's been fun. Your value is extremely high, but we just got rid of C.J. McCollum. It's time. It's time to go in rebuild mode.
Yeah, they should have traded them both at the same time, honestly.
It's time. And that's my whole point.
They would have had the number one pick this year if they did.
And that's what I mean. And that's what I mean by they gave up their leverage. Because had they done this thing right, they would have flipped Dame first. And then after you flip, if you flip CJ first, Dame's value goes down because now everybody thinks or knows or thinks you're trying to rebuild. If you flip Dame first, and that hurts your star's value because everybody knows you don't want a disgruntled star. If you flip Dame first, then teams are thinking, well, CJ's gonna go. Well, I want CJ. Well, I want CJ. Well, I want CJ.
Right.
And he's not a superstar to where it's like, all right, he's gonna be disgruntled being moved up into the 1 seat. So now you still have leverage to say, hey, if y'all don't give me a good price for CJ, we'll make him the face of our franchise. They gave up their leverage. They did it backwards and stupid. And now they're stuck in, it's the Shaden Sharp and Scoot Henderson era. Ooh, we're going to have Anthony Simons out there going crazy. And if you look at the moves that Miami is making, they're giving up a lot of the assets that probably would have been traded for Dame.
Yeah,
Victor Oladipo gone. Strus gone via side and trade.
Gabriel gone.
Vincent Gabriel gone. They've traded away multiple draft assets. This is a situation where I'm looking at the Dame said, I only want to go to Miami. I only want to go to Miami. Well, it don't seem that Miami is all that pressed for you, brother. Yeah. It just ain't looking like it. And now,
I mean, they'll have to gut their roster though.
And that's my point. So then you would have to be in a team devoid of talent again, which we know at this point in time, you're not the guy to carry a team devoid of talent to a finals. You're not that guy.
I think Jimmy still is though.
But if Jimmy is on that team, they're not devoid of talent. They may be devoid of depth. Like, for example, the Suns are devoid of depth. They're not devoid of talent. That's a team that I'm looking at like.
Right, that's what I'm saying though. So it's like if he was to go to Miami and they gut the team, they still got enough top heavy talent where they can get some of them undrafted guys and maybe make a push.
At the end of the day, I see what went wrong with this being very simple. Both sides, every side involved gave up all their leverage and was moving just stupendously idiotically. And now look at where we are. Look at where we are. You're going to have a tough time trading Dame because, number one, all this speculation about is he going to play here, is he going to play there. Number two, you did it in the wrong order. So instead of trading the guy who would have made the second guy more valuable, you traded the second guy who made the first guy less valuable. And now, in Dame, you've given up your leverage. There's no trade. And the team that you said you want to go to is trading away assets like they're having a fire sale.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all parties involved. Y'all are stuck in the stupid, ugly marriage, and y'all have slapped the flex seal of, well, I guess we got to stick with each other together on this thing. That's what's keeping y'all together. R.I.P. Billy Mays, but flex seal ain't that strong, okay? It just ain't going to keep this thing together, and it's not going to build y'all a winner. Anywho, I know y'all tired of us talking about Britney Spears and Wembanyama and whether or not TMac is decisively better than Paul George.
He ain't.
But come on back next week. And the week after that. See if I don't strangle Guyton between now and then. Peace and love, y'all.